Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Thank you, Pastor Sharon. All right, guys. So, my sermon is titled Recklessly in Rest. I know that there's probably some grammatical errors in that sentence. I don't think there's a verb in there, or maybe rest. Maybe that'll be the verb. And then the subject will be recklessly. I don't know. But recklessly in rest. What does recklessly in rest mean to you? So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is set aside a piece of paper. I actually have one myself. A writing utensil, or you can use your cell phones, that notes section that you guys have in there. You have like 50 notes in there. You can use that too, okay? So I'm going to give you a second to secure those items. Seconds up. All right. We're going to go to John chapter 12, verse 24. We're going to start with that. Let me know when you are ready. Yes? Okay. All right. So it says, true. I'm reading from the NASB. So, truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. That's a pretty, straightforward passage. However, I like the Message version best. So we're going to go to the next one. It says, listen carefully. Unless a grain of wheat is buried in the ground, dead to the world, it is never any more than a grain of wheat. But if it is buried, it sprouts and reproduces itself many times over. In the same way, anyone who holds on to life just as it is destroys that life. But if you let go, reckless in your love, you'll have it forever, real and eternal. All right. As you can see, I have the reckless part highlighted. We'll get to there in a minute. So, when I was reading this, I was like, okay, God, okay, all right. So this is a basic Palm Sunday chapter in the book. Where am I going with this? Where do I go? And so the revelation that I got was very simple. A grain of wheat, it grows up on a stalk, right? And it has its purpose. It's growing and it's wheat. But it doesn't reach its potential unless it is cut, dried, buried, and then sprouted. Does that make sense to you guys? And I thought, how does that pertain to our daily lives? Like, how does that fit into our lives? And so the thought I got was, in life, we do things that we feel are the right thing to do, that are correct. We stay in the lanes that we feel that we should be in, and we don't do too much, we do just enough. Stay around the people that we feel will help us grow. And then God all of a sudden says, nope, it's not where I want you to be. I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to move you over here. You don't know anyone. You don't know my plans. You don't know the way of life to these things. But this is where I want you to be. And in my life, in my heart, I was like, hold up, wait a minute. I don't know anyone. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do these things. So why would you think it's a good idea to place me in this situation? And he was simple. If I take you away from the things that you think you know, then I force you to rely on me. Fully, completely, and wholly. And that's where I am in my life. Personally, that is where I am. So I wrote in my notes here to tell the story. So you ready for my story? Okay. So as a lot of you guys know, I'm going to school. I'm getting my master's in education. And then my husband and I knew in the beginning of this journey that I would have to one day quit my salaried paying job to not work, to partake in an internship where I was not getting paid. Are we following that? Salary, not getting paid, in a field that I read about only in textbooks. I had no practical knowledge of this thing. So we knew in the beginning, right? And then as time came on, I figured, let me try and figure out, I can go this way and maybe I won't have to quit my job. Or maybe if I do this, then I won't have to quit my job. Or I can just ease on into the field, and guess what? I won't have to quit my job. It didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. And so we had to have the hard conversation like October and November. So, you have to quit your job? Yes, I have to quit my job. What does that mean for us? I don't know. How will we survive? I definitely don't know. And we had this conversation back and forth. And the weirdest thing happened, the weirdest thing. And I felt kind of guilty about it, so I kept it to myself for a while. And one day I said, hey, babe, I kind of feel guilty. She's like, why? I said, because I don't feel bad that I have to quit my job. And he's like, me too. So like we had this moment where God had already given us peace in what I needed to do before it happened. That doesn't mean that I didn't have switching thoughts. Oh my God. All right, so daycare, rent, car note, car insurance, his income, my income, and then my income goes away, and we're like, the bills are still the same, right? Nothing's changed. Nothing. I tried to pay off credit cards, didn't work out that way. So all these things are still the same, yet we have one income. But can I tell you guys something? We still have lights. We still have food. We still have clothes. My kid is still healthy and driving us crazy, so I think we're okay, right? I think we're okay. But even more importantly, I love the fact that God is showing himself faithful, because we decided to trust him and take that step, and I quit my job. I'm not telling you to quit your jobs. No, that is not what I am saying. I'm saying I had to quit my job to get to where God has for me to be. All right? Dying to the idea of what I know is best for my family, what I think is best for my family, is something that I have to do every day. Because I wake up in the morning, these are the things that we have to do today. Bop, 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 bop. And then God's like, well, did you consult me in the bop, 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 bop? Because there would be one less bop if you consulted me. But I didn't, right? So now I've added my bops, and then God's bops got to fit in there somewhere. So dying to what I think the right way of doing things is something that I have to do every single day. As a mom, as a wife, as an educator, I feel like I have a plan. I create lesson plans, I create all these plans, and literally every day, did you consult me in that plan? No. Well, now you have to double work. Now you will not have peace in this situation because you did not consult me when you made that plan. Kadijah. That's the conversation that God has to me usually when I'm in the car on my lunch break. So a friend of mine recommended a book by Rachel Hollis. It says, Girl, Wash Your Face. It is an amazing book. And so one of the quotes that I got from the book, it says, if the caterpillar decided to remain a caterpillar because of the chaos of metamorphosis was too great, she would never get to see the beauty that she would become. If you think, when I think back in my life, so the reason why I had to quit my job, and I'm going to confess, Stevie, you were right, was because I kept taking these detours and not doing one simple thing, which was take a test. I found ways around taking that test. And yes, eventually, here I am, the end, I'm here. But I could have gotten there a lot at a shorter amount of time had I taken this particular test. So I wanted to become a butterfly. I wanted to morph into this beautiful being. But I was too afraid of the pain that I would have to go through from point A to point B. And so, like I said, I'm at the end, I'm here, but it was a much longer journey than it should have been. So Stevie, you were correct. Sometimes situations are not pleasant. They're not comfortable, but they are very, very necessary for our growth. And I want us to keep that in mind. It might not feel good, it might not sound good, but it's necessary for our growth. And so when we're making this decision, okay, yes, I will follow, I will do this, or no, I will not, the question is it necessary for my growth? If your response is yes, it is necessary for your growth, I encourage you, don't be like me, don't take a detour, follow God's guidance. All right. So we're going to talk about safe love equals control. Safe love equals control. When we decide which parts of our lives we give to God, we limit his ability to truly reign, rule, and abide in our lives. When he is not in full control, we are not resting in his promises, and we don't have enough rest. Here we go. And when we do not have enough rest, we make poor choices. There's something about resting in God and knowing that things will be all right. How many of you ever, I don't know, just like didn't rest when you should have? Didn't take that nap, didn't go to bed as soon as you should have. And then you finally do it. Oh, no. So then, okay, here's an example. I should have taken a nap. I didn't take a nap because I have all these things that I've put on my list, the bop list. And then someone says to me, can you do this? And my response is not in love. My response is not of peace. It is not of grace. It is not nice. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not nice either, And then I'm ashamed because I responded in a not nice way. Right? Stevie would say, hey, babe, why do I have to do it? Why can't you do it? I've been doing this all day. I have all these things on my list. All you do is, that's the conversation that I've had with my husband. And so instead of me saying, babe, I'm really tired right now. I don't think that I just don't know. I don't think I can do it. Instead of me saying that, I respond nastily because I haven't given myself the time to rest. And so what is in me is not nice. So I encourage you to rest. And I know you guys think I'm like joking, but no, seriously, take a break and rest. Take a break and refill. Take a break and let God do what he has to do in you so that when you are responding, it is not nasty and has nothing to do with us, but everything to do with him. That we are still testifying and blessing people through our responses, even though we are physically tired. Okay? So the next thing we're going to talk about is reckless love equals giving away control. How many control freaks in the room? Okay. I feel like there are more. We're not judging you, okay? We are not judging you, but you are out there. So the definition for reckless, it says, without thinking or caring about the consequences of an action. Reckless love. I want to be recklessly in love with God. I want to just throw it all away. Yes, I'll follow you. I'll do it. And I am like that, right? Sometimes. And then I remember, oh wait, but I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this. I have all these things in my schedule, but I want to be reckless. But I can be reckless between 5 and 6 a.m. because then Mikkel wakes up at 6:20 and the day has to go. So God, I can be reckless, but this is the time frame that you are going to get the recklessness. Is that really reckless? Is that really giving away care? Is that really trusting God? No? I didn't think so. I mean, that's what I do, and I realize I'm not giving God enough time. So I want to be reckless. I want him to work miracles. I want him to be wondrous in my life, but I'm only allowing him an hour to do 24 hours worth of work. Now, someone said to me, I don't know, maybe I read it. I don't remember. But someone said we should give 10% of our time to God. Right? Is that person in the room? I don't know. 10% of that time to God. So it's 24 hours in a day. 10% of our time to God equates to how much time? 2 hours and 40 minutes. How long is your commute to work? 45 minutes, an hour. How long is your commute coming home? Oh. Okay, hour and a half over there. Do you think that in our time going to work, coming from work, our lunch times, waking up early in the morning, or choosing to spend a little time with him before we go to bed at night, do we think that we can compose that 10% of our time? We give 10% of our tithes. Well, we give 10% of our income, which is our tithes. So do you think we can do that? Is it reasonable for some people? I'm just thinking of ways on how I can be diligent, because I want God to do all these amazing things for me, but I'm limiting my time with him. I'm limiting how much I give him, how much I give to him. So just think about that. Think about it. Think in your life where you can make time. Not just, okay, I have an open space, but this time, like I have consciously, since my last job, I've made a conscious decision to dedicate my commute to work to God. And so at that time, I'm generally worshiping, I'm praying, all these things. And originally, it started because I found myself becoming very angry at the drivers on the road. And I was like, I need to do something before I do something. So it literally became a habit. And then when I switched over to my new field that I'm in, I stopped because I didn't have enough time. Like I didn't make that time for God. I don't have enough time for this commute. I don't know where I'm going. I need to follow GPS. And I realized I am not that nice of a person when I don't have that hour there and that hour back. Because that hour back, that means I'm picking up a toddler or I'm going to class and I really don't want to be there. I like the kid, not the class part. And so like I have to invest that time. So I've started putting it back into my schedule, but it's something that I recommend that you guys do. Although God will still take control when we've decided I can't take it anymore, I can't do anymore, I've done enough, I can't control it anymore, even though he will still take it, wouldn't it be easier to just give it to him ahead of time? Right? Before it gets too much. This week in my life, so we moved last weekend, we also moved yesterday, but we moved last weekend and we had to just all these things. And I found myself, I woke up on Monday and I just felt super, super, super down and really a little bit overwhelmed actually. I just felt all these things. And I had driving, I thought to myself, Kadijah, you're so, pardon my French, stupid. You're carrying too much. You're doing too much. Someone else could do this and someone else can do that. But no, you're choosing to do it. So the frustration and the anxiety and the overwhelmingness that I felt, it was my fault. Because I chose not to let someone else help me. I chose to take it all on, and I chose not to make time with God so that I can rest and be refilled. There is freedom in not trying to fight against the tide. I am not a swimmer. Probably because I tried to fight against the tide and everything else. But I've seen swimmers lay back and they float. And they get from point A to point B. They don't drown. They're okay. And life is fine. And so for me, when I read that quote, I was like, yeah, that's definitely something I need to work on in my life. In life, we're constantly trying to, okay, so the flow is going this way, and now I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna do it my way because my way is the best way, or I think that my way is the way it should be, and then we're fighting against the tide. We're fighting against the direction that God wants us to go, and then we're so daggone tired. By the time we get to it, we're like, I can't even enjoy it because I just want to sleep. What was the purpose of that? What was the purpose of fighting against the tide? What was the purpose of exerting all that energy when we could have just gone with the flow? And not like the flow of people, but like the flow of God. And letting him guide and take us where we need to go from point A to point B to point C. There is beauty in embracing your chaos and giving it to God. Every day our lives are filled with things that are controllable and uncontrollable. Right? And we choose how we want to deal with those things, when we want to deal with those things, and if we're even going to deal with them. But there is beauty in embracing your chaos and giving it to God. And when I say embracing your chaos, this is the image that I had in my mind. All right, so I've got a bedroom that needs to get fixed, I have tons of lesson plans that need to be made. I have laundry that needs to be done. I'm taking all this chaos. Here you go, God. Because I don't know what to do. And literally, I feel him give me guidance. Okay, well, you're going to do, well, how about you do laundry? Sure. Well, while you're doing that, why don't you go ahead and do this? And then I find myself figuring it out, getting all those things done, but only because I gave it to God. Because if I tried to do it on my own, it would never get done. I was talking to PS yesterday, and she said that it was something that we're doing, and she said, we'll get to it. I'll get to it when we're done with this pile, when I'm all caught up. Reality is we'll never be all caught up, right? I know for me, I will never be all caught up. However, if I'm taking these things that are burdening me and overwhelming me, and I say, here, God, so this is what I have to do. This is when I need to do it by. Give me guidance. I guarantee you the things that need to be done will get taken care of. And the things that I have time for, he will give me grace. He will sustain grace for me so that I can get those things done in a timely manner, of course, but everything will get done, just not when I'm trying to do 6 things or 12 things at once. I also found out that when we try to deal with things on our own, we attempt to create alternative measures of manufactured peace. If I'm trying to create my own peace, there is something wrong. Manufactured peace. Manufactured peace is not the peace that passes all understanding. I'll tell you that right now. Okay? It is not the peace that comes from God and that can only be explained or experienced in his presence. Manufactured peace is, if I put this aside, I do this, and then I make this happen, and then 5 minutes here, okay. But manufactured peace is not pure peace. It is not real peace. It is not the peace that will sustain us and make me nice when you ask me a question. So I've decided I no longer want to cry. Like, who do I think I am? Like, who would we try to create our own peace? We're not the creator of anything. So how dare we try to reproduce something that God, right? It all comes from him. He's created, designed. He knows exactly the right amount of the dose, and he knows the exact recipe for peace. And here we are trying to recreate it. What sense does that make? And how long will it last? And isn't it tiring trying to make your own peace? Yes? No? Maybe? So? Somebody? Okay, cool. So, you have your pieces of paper or your cell phones? So my first question is, what areas of my life do I try to create my own peace? And I would like for you to write those areas down. Okay, so under that, the next question. The next question is why? Why? All right. And then so my last question is this. Why do I choose to give a peace just so that I can control the situation? Now, I didn't look at your papers. But I'm pretty confident that a lot of the situations and places in our lives that we try to control, that we try to create peace in, is because we're trying to control those areas. When I thought about this, the analogy was, so peace is a promise. Peace is a gift from God. It is a guarantee. I've accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. I pray and I ask God for peace, and he gives me peace within the measure that I need, within the realm that I need, right? And so it is inherited. It's a promise. It's a guarantee that I'll get this when I ask for it, whenever I need it, But then, so the thought that came up was, when I try to create my own peace so that I can control the situation, it's like walking away from my inheritance because I think I can do better on my own. Walking away from something that's already given. It's mine. The trust says Kadijah D. Olivel Gabriel, whatever name God has up there for me, whatever he calls me. It says that's mine, right? This piece is mine. But I decided, no, I can create my own peace, so I work twice as hard, 3 times as hard. I no longer, here, you can have my inheritance because I can do a better job at creating my own peace than you, the creator of the world and the universe, can do. That's what it's like when we try to create our own peace. We're double working. We're making things so much harder for ourselves. Let's go to John chapter 12, verse 42. Nevertheless, many, even the rulers, believe in him. But because of the Pharisees, they were not confessing him, for they feared that they would be put out of the synagogue, for they loved the approval of men rather than the approval of God. How many times have we sacrificed peace and resting in God because we wanted the approval of our peers or people we think are successful in life or have it all together? How many times have we given away, okay, I know I can choose an easier route, but I kind of feel bad because so-and-so is going through a really hard time, and if I am just resting in God's peace, then it kind of looks like I'm not going through anything, and I want to look like I'm going through something too. I want to look like I'm struggling too. I want to look like I'm having a hard time too. And so we choose not to rest in God because we want to be a part of the crowd. And sometimes we do it not even like knowing. So in today's world, struggling, overextending ourselves, becoming extremely tired, feeling overwhelmed is normal. And if you aren't experiencing at least 3 of these, you're not doing something right. So if you are not tired, frustrated, exhausted, so on and so forth, you're not doing it right. You're obviously not living life correct. That's what the world tells us. The world tells us that you should not have enough time. Every moment of your day should be scheduled. And if you have free time, you are not living to your potential. That's a lie. That is a lie from the pit of hell. I've always wanted to say that. That is a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. How is being overwhelmed and feeling tired and feeling frustrated, how does that bring me closer to God? How does it show me the fruits that I need? If I'm so busy and I'm so tired that I'm not resting in his promises, I'm not resting in his presence, I'm not making time. So if I'm not making time, I am not getting refilled, I am not getting topped off, I am not getting filled to the point of overflowing so that when you poke me, Jesus comes out, right? Or when you say something to me, Jesus, and God bless you. And not the religious God bless you, but no, really like, brother, let me pray for you because God's going to bless you. If I'm not taking the time to get refilled to the point of overflowing, what's coming out? I want to be recklessly in love with God to the point to where he comes out. To the point to where I abandon everything. I don't want it. It's okay. I don't need it. But I'm recklessly in love with God. And in my recklessly in love, in my recklessly resting place, I am able to do all the things that I need to do. I am able to get the grace that I need to do all the things that I need to do. So a couple, maybe like a month or two ago, I had a lot of things going on. Nothing new. Well, kind of new. So I had all these things going on, and I said yes to every one of them. It's not like I got suckered into it or I felt bad about it. No, I said yes to all of these things. I chose to take them and put them in my bag and carry them around. And then the result of that was, what I was producing, I wasn't proud of. What I was producing, it didn't make me happy. It didn't reflect what I really wanted to do because I didn't have enough time. I was just too tired. I put so much in my plate that the product that my family was getting, they weren't getting like the best version of me. They were getting what was left of me after the best version was gone, because the best version was split like 8 times, and so I had like 20% left, and it's 2 of them, and so 10 and 10, or no, should it be 15 and 5? I don't know. I was not giving the best of me. I was not proud of the product that I was producing, even in my schoolwork. So like, I was doing okay. I was passing, but I wasn't proud of what that letter grade was. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I wanted. I had too much on my plate. I wasn't resting. Next slide, please. And this is something that I found to be very true during that season. Rest is a weapon given to us by God. The enemy hates it because he wants you stressed out and occupied. When I am stressed, when we are occupied, when we are too busy, like I said before, we do not make time to rest in God. We do not make time to have supper and to talk to him and, just get refilled. We don't do those things because we have a jillion things going on. So a lot of you guys know I have Mikkel. He's 2. At school, he takes amazing naps. However, at home, he fights us, like really, really, really badly. And so, we fight him, we hold him. Finally, we win, he falls asleep. And Stevie and I always say to one another, like, I bet that's how we are with God. We need rest. I need rest. I mean, this kid, he's going. He needs rest. He's like falling asleep, rubbing his eyes, and then you try to like put him in this, no, I don't want to. No, and he's like yelling. So if he has me, daddy, if he has daddy, mommy, and then if he has both of us, yeah, that's my mom. Like he's calling anybody that can possibly save him at that time. Instead of doing the one thing that he has to do, rest. Rest. So in those times when you're like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I need to rest, but I'll do it later, I want you to imagine my 2-year-old. Imagine yourself as my 2-year-old, right? Or in case you're a 2-year-old. Imagine yourself as that little person and the fight that you're giving for something that you absolutely need. You absolutely need rest. You absolutely need to be recklessly in love and recklessly in rest with God. Because like I said before, that is when he refills us. He tops us off. And like I said, when we are poked and pushed and budged, he comes out, not us. Next. Just push pause. Pause. I started this habit. I work in a high school. There's kids everywhere. They're like literally everywhere all the time. And the teachers, they talk so much. And it was so much for me. So now I have a lunch in my car. And I know it sounds like I'm antisocial. There's a bit of truth to that. But honestly, it is my favorite time of the day because I get to do this. Pause. In the car, the sun is shining, or it might be snowing or raining because I am outside, but there's pause. How does it feel not to do anything? Seriously, how does it feel not to do anything? So my pause is technically scheduled for 41 minutes, but I need to make it back in class on time. So I've scheduled my pause for 30 minutes. I set a timer. Time I'm in the car, 30 minutes in, 30 minutes out, walk into the building. But I tell you, when I come back from my pause, bring it on, 8th, I'm ready for you. I'm ready, and it sounds like a joke, but like I'm legit, like I am so refreshed after that pause. But if I don't, and I notice on the days that I don't take the pause, on the days that we have like half-a-day schedules or these funky schedules, I am exhausted, I am tired, I am over this place. I think last week I sent someone a message, I think to Crystal, I can't stand my 5th period, or maybe it was Tiff. I can't stand my 5th period. Like that was literally, I didn't have a pause in that day. Like, and I didn't produce what I should have been producing because I didn't take that time. So, whenever you think of me, think of just pause. So we're gonna try it one more time. We're not gonna do anything. Just pause. Okay. Another thing I recommend that you do when you're pausing is pay attention to your breathing. It'll bring you back to reality quickly. You pause and you're not doing anything, but if I pay attention, I pause, and I pay attention to every breath I take in and every breath I exhale, it aligns and focuses me. When we rest, we allow God to fill our tool belts with all we need. Our levels are topped off and overflowing with His goodness. When we rest, we allow God to fill our tool belts with everything we need. Our levels are topped off and overflowing with His goodness. The good thing about God filling our tool belts is He knows what we need. He knows what will come in the day. He knows what will come in the week. He knows what's going to come this year. We don't. But if we rest, we give Him the opportunity to restock us so that whatever comes, we're ready, we're prepared. We have everything we need to get us to the next stage. Okay. So you have your papers or your things that we try to control and the things that we try to create peace for. I would like for you to take a minute and rededicate that portion of your life to God. So, your minute has started. Father, we want to be so recklessly in love with you that our spirit yearns for moments of rest. Father, I ask today that you would fill us up to the point of overflowing, and that you never cease to invite us into your presence for rest. Father, I pray that we become aware of when we need your rest and how long we need to stay in your presence. Father, I pray that you become so much more, you become so important in our lives that we create our daily schedules around you and our time of rest. Father, I ask that you would continue to guide us and lead us, Lord God, and that in our moments of rest, in our moments of quiet, in our moments of intimacy with you, that you will continue to reveal your plans for our lives. Lord, I thank you for today, and I thank you for everyone that has heard this word. In the name of Jesus, amen.